We came to learn that many people are dying.
Some were orphans and some were widows.
And people were quiet.
We didn't have that idea what they were dying from.
The burial permit could read this person died of malaria, yet the story behind they hear that it is unsafe abortion.
Sasa mtu kama mimi niko na survive kwa ajili ya Pumlusi.
We started Nyarungi Paralegals as a support group for women.
Boda are the perpetrators. So when we train them as champions, they are the ones who are now leading the conversation.
Watu wa IPAS wametuweka tukue na degree masomo kamili ya maisha ya mtu vile tunaweza kaa.
Flames of silence. Every death was whispered, quietly, at night, in fear. Girls disappeared from classrooms. Women fell sick behind closed doors. Deaths were explained away, never named. This was the silence, and it burned.
You can get the grave of a mother there, then another small grave there. So after burial, the story ends. They don't talk about it, and the incidents were multiplying. They didn't want to mention the word abortion.
It was not even allowed to say something like abortion in a meeting or in a barasa or in a church.
Ameshakufa. Nikipata kama amekufa.
In rural Western Kenya, silence has long shaped women's lives around sex, pregnancy, violence, and abortion. In Kakamega County, unsafe abortion, teenage pregnancy, and gender-based violence thrived in secrecy, fed by stigma, fear, and misinformation. Women buried daughters, mothers carried regret, communities moved on. Until some women refused to stay quiet.
We started as a women group. We were just doing the table banking, merry-go-round, and buying cups and plates for our friends. We came to realize that in the community we had another challenge which was very touchy. We could find some women, some were orphans and some were widows. They were just dying and they had nobody to take care of them. So we thought, we didn't have that idea what they were dying from.
We came to learn that many people are dying of unsafe abortion, and many have complications related to the same. And people were quiet. They didn't want to mention the word abortion because of the religious belief and our cultural belief. But when we came to learn that it is also our problem, that is where we now thought that we just have to chip in and help the community.
For Bumalusi women, this was not theory, it was loss. With support from IPAS Africa Alliance, communities gained accurate information, skills, and confidence.
We came to meet with IPAS and they trained us on safe and unsafe abortion.
Most of the pupils were dropping out of schools. Some unsafe abortions were happening even in schools, and stigma.
The Onida Shimoli lost her Class 7 stepdaughter to a failed attempt to end a pregnancy. The girl fell violently ill, vomiting, weak, unable to explain what was wrong.
Nikaenda hospitali, kufika hospitali, daktari aliniuliza, "Huyu msichana wako ako na shida gani?" Nikasema mimi sijui shida yake. Akapima, akakuta mtoto ako na mimba.
They tried to save her, they tried to save the baby, but her condition worsened.
Waling'ang'ana, akatoa mtoto. Mtoto alikuwa mzima. Kumbe msichana naye alikuwa anaisha nguvu kabisa. Sasa saa ile alitoa mtoto, na mimi nikasema mtoto ni mzima analia, wacha nifanye kusaidia mtoto ngali mamaka ako kwa maji. Sasa nikang'ang'ana, kanua maziwa nikapea mtoto, akanywa, alikunywa. Mama yake naye muda kidogo akahaka. Daktari alipima akasema ni kuna sumu kama amekunywa omo.
Doctors later said she had ingested poison in a desperate attempt to end the pregnancy, a decision that cost her life.
Nilisikia vibaya. Mtoto akiwa na mimba mama inafaa kuambie. Alinificha nisikujua kama ako na mimba.
Today, Leonida walks from village to village carrying a newspaper bearing that story, not for sympathy, but as evidence. She uses her pain as a warning, working alongside Bumulusi women to break the silence that once killed her child. In Kakamega and Homa Bay counties, community groups supported by IPAS Africa Alliance began to challenge this silence, working with women, men, faith leaders, elders, youth, and local authorities. At the center of this work are Bumulusi women. They were driven by horrific cases of unsafe abortion, teenage pregnancy, and sexual violence. They chose to confront taboo head-on through dialogue, referrals, and collective action. Jennifer Oyaro is one of them. She lost her daughter to intimate partner violence after sending her back to an abusive marriage.
Thursday akakuja. Ati tena ameunifungia mlango. Nikamwambia wewe jana uliniambia ati amemsaini mzuri. Wewe rudi tu huko atapatilika tu.
The last time she sent her away, that night, the man stabbed her. She did not survive.
Pikipiki ilikuja tu hivi na ikaingia na nikasikia mtu akiita. Na akasema mami, papa ametunga mami kisu. Tukatoka hapa. Ndio tunaenda na baholo. Ni saa 2 hata saa 3 haijafika. Niliingia tu hivi na nikapata msichana ako kwa kitanda. Nguo zote ni tamu, amelala. Msichana ameshakufa. Yaani ameshakufa. Nikipata kama amekufa. Kuangalia nilipata kijana ametunga mtoto kisu kutokea upande huu. Kutokea upande huu ikatokea huku. Sasa ikakata hii. Sasa damu ilikuwa inaenda ndani na ingine sasa imemwendea tu mwili yote. Alikuwa tu hata niko na picha kwa nyumba. Ilikuwa tu damu kabisa.
Today, Jennifer walks us to her daughter's grave. Her regret is heavier than words. She did not listen, and silence took her child.
Watu haipasi. Mimi naomba tu ili shirika lisianguke, bali lipanuke. Lisaidie, liendelee kusaidia hii chama ya Bumulusi kwa sababu imefanya watu wengi wenye tungekufa sasa tuko tuna survive. Sasa mtu kama mimi niko na survive kwa ajili ya Bumulusi. Kwa sababu singeweza tu hata kidogo.
Jennifer is now part of the Bumulusi women because she does not want another mother to stand where she stands.
Sasa mpaka saa hii mimi nimekuwa mwalimu. Mimi nimekuwa mwalimu wao. Hata nikienda kanisa nikirudi wao wananingojea tu hapo kwa tuka. Wanatuambia tu penye umeenda sasa tufundishie kwenye umepata huko. Penye umeenda kwa chama tufundishie kwenye umepata huko. Hata wenye wanakoseana na mapwana sao nikitoka huko mimi nawaelimisha.
Widespread cases of unsafe abortion, teenage pregnancy, sexual violence, and silent deaths pushed Bumulusi women to confront what the community once avoided, opening difficult conversations head-on.
Sasa tukaanza kuenda kwa mabarasa, tukaanza kuenda kwa villages, tukaanza kuenda kwa mashule. After identifying stakeholders who could help us through this work. Sasa kupitia kwa hao stakeholders, the church leaders, the administrators, the teachers. So tukaanza kupenya, kuingia ndani kabisa na hii information ya safe and unsafe abortion.
After getting the information, they were positive and said that if that is the motive, let us just join the hands. Then we talk of the issue to stop, because we also don't want to be firing our people because of such instances.
So when I joined this team, I realized many were worried and were not willing to come back. So we were to again look for them, tell them, yes, it has happened. Now, don't kill yourself. Don't run away from the church. Don't see it as something so strange. So we either help you accept na ulee mtoto. If not, we have to help you, send you to a referral where you can be assisted. Na many at times tumekuwa tukiwasaidia, wanaenda wanapata the right persons to help them do what they want to do in a safe way than losing life and losing even the child itself.
So IPAS has really come in to help us, the schools that they visit, because they are now removing the stigma. Mpaka mtoto yule mwenye ako na mimba sasa anaanza feel free kuambia sasa hawa mama niko hivi, niko hivi. Sasa unashtukia wamekuja wamemcancel, wanampeleka kwa hospitali, the health facility like Navahola, alafu wanamsaidia polepole.
Kama mimi mtoto wangu msichana wa mwisho alikuwa ameshafanya form 4 na nilikuwa kwa mkali, na siku 3-4 simuoni nyumbani.
Nixon Weppel, a pastor and a father, remembers when his own daughter ran away after becoming pregnant, afraid of his reaction, certain she would be beaten. Through training supported by IPAS and Bumulusi, Nixon chose a different path.
Alipokuja nikakaa naye, nikamfunza, nikamwambia hata mimi nilipitia kwa hayo. Na pia wewe, sasa wewe ni machuo, umemaliza form 4. Hakuna shida. Ungekuwa uko shuleni ndio ingekuwa na shida.
He reached out. They talked. He welcomed his daughter home and stood beside her. Betty was married at 19. When isolation and distance fractured her marriage, a pregnancy outside wedlock led her family to a traditional abortionist. She nearly died.
Na mama akachukua hiyo waya na kuingiza kwa uterus, anagoroka. Na hiyo machungu yote, unajua utasikia machungu, lakini sasa because of venye uko unataka tu kitu itoke.
When we rushed her to hospital, this Navahola Sub-County Hospital, we found that the placenta was decaying in the uterus.
Through referral supported by Bumulusi and IPAS, Betty reached hospital care, but doctors had to remove her uterus to save her life. She faced her husband with the truth, why she nearly died, and why they would never have another child.
By the time nilimwambia ukweli, alishtuka. Nilimwambia thank God niko mzima, lakini sasa ningekuwa nimekufa. And si kwamba ningekufa because of nini, wewe ndio ungefanya nikufa. Because uliniacha kwa nyumba peke yangu na nikapitia changamoto peke yangu, na nataka nikuwe free nikwambie nini nilifanya na niombe msamaha.
Today, Betty is part of Bumulusi Women representing the youth.
Sasa niliform group ya watu 72. Wageni wenye umeingia this year, hii mwezi December, umekuwa na 2. So out of 72, kila mtu alipitia changamoto yake. Kuna wale walipitia ikaenda successful. Kuna wale walipitia walijaribu ikakwama, but tukaadvise wale watoto wako na watoto.
When a grade 6 girl collapsed after attempting an abortion near a church, it was Betty who was called. The girl lived. She returned to school. She endured stigma. Months later, she speaks, not from fear, but from defiance.
Nikaanza kufilisa uchungu kabisa. Ndo akapikia mama Pumulusi simu, akakuja. Akanipeleka senta hospitali. Mimba ikatoka na uchafu mingi, hata siko najua nitaisa tena.
People told her she would never conceive again. The pressure followed her everywhere.
Nikaanza tu kuwa na mawazo kwa kichwa, nitaipata mtoto tena ama ndo iliisha tu hivyo.
When we interviewed her, she was 6 months pregnant. Not just with a child, but with proof. Proof that the body can heal. Proof that silence can be broken. Hanifa Wechuli was once a traditional birth attendant performing unsafe abortions. When her own daughter nearly died from a botched procedure, she changed. Through Bumulusi, Hanifa changed course. Today, she is one of the strongest voices for safe reproductive health and the rights of women and girls.
Wamama wanaweza elewa, lakini wapapa
In community meetings, she no longer hides behind silence. She demands accountability, calling on others to name how many women they have referred for proper medical care.
Kuna wale ambao wanapewa tu kiting and counseling na wanasaa watoto wao. Na kuna wale ambao wanakataa mimba kabisa, hata ufanya aje wanakataa. Sasa watu huwa ninawatuma wapi kumlusi. Lakini hapo awali ni kitu ambacho tumepitia na nikasema IPAS ilikuja ikaokoa hata maisha yangu.
From perpetrator to protector, her transformation reflects what is possible when truth replaces fear. These flames of silence did not stop in Kakamega. They traveled west to the lakeside county of Homa Bay. Here, the story takes an unexpected turn. In the sugarcane belt and fishing communities, men once named as perpetrators, sugarcane cutters, boda riders, were linked to rape, defilement, teenage pregnancy, and unsafe abortion.
So the sugarcane cutters, both owners in terms of the women and the girls, have been to their mercy in terms of they do a lot of sexual violation when they offer these services. And since there is no one who will do it, it's them to do it, the community somehow has accepted that that is their way of life. A lot of sexual violations happens, especially to the young girls. Remember, they have already cash that they are getting from this, and they are being paid like on a weekly basis. So they have some cash flows to be able to influence some of these young girls that are there.
Mimi nafanya kazi ya banda. Banda ni kazi ya kukata miwa. Kila Thursday napata pesa. Ninaona tu kama hiyo pesa ni mingi kabisa. Naenda tu shule yangu. Msichana kama bado naenda shuleni, najua msichana anapenda pesa. Kama iko na pesa, tunaweza tu kukaa na yeye. Tena wamama pia. Wamama wadogo hivi. Saa zingine na saa nitoa miba ya watoto wengine. Kama na saa patia miba. Naongea na daktari ya kienyeji hivi, patie pesa na saa toa. Sasa mimi naona tu kwa namba ya chifu, nakumbuka tu ile kitu na saa fanya.
Nitachapa alafu nasema hii ni Jack. Jack mepatia mimi. Lazima uchukue mimi kwa sitaka polisi. Kama bado kushika mimi na polisi nafanya hivi. Sasa ukipata miba lazima
Through the work of Nyarongi, many of these men have confronted their past and chosen a different path.
Umejua hawa kwenyeji nachukua 6,000. 6,000 hiyo ulifanya kazi wiki moja. Hiyo wiki moja ilienda hivi.
Daktari ya private shida yake ni case. Kama umetoa mbaya, case na msemaji na mwambie tu daktari fanya tu hii kazi. Ukisamaliza maneno ingine wacha.
The clinic is among the quack, and most of the sugarcane cutters were going to him because he provides a better option in payment, unlike other hospitals where the payment is high.
Lakini naomba Mungu saidi. Nawacha hiyo kazi kabla sijapata ukimwi. Ndio nalea saidi. Mimi naona tu hasara, naenda hasara kabisa. Hata kwa familia yangu. Sikia mbaya kabisa.
Sahi, mimi ni mtu mzuri. Nawacha. Lakini hapo nyuma mimi ni wasi.
Once feared, they are becoming protectors. They train their peers. They create awareness.
Sahi, ukipata mtu kama anataka kufanya hii kitu, naongea naye.
When we interacted with IPAS, they help us to intervene in this situation to teach our women and girls on their human rights and health rights.
Working alongside Nyarongi paralegals, they help bring perpetrators of sexual and gender-based violence to justice.
This teaching has helped us a lot, so that we told the Banda now when you are there, and we told them to see that if it was their family being this thing is doing for them, they are giving girls pregnancy, and after giving pregnancy they get money on weekly basis. They take them to the quacks, they do unsafe abortions. What about if it was their children? So it has helped a lot, and now they are working on it, and also in the farms there, they also take the teachings when they are cutting the sugarcane, and they tell us this thing that we are doing is not good.
you would see the likes of Lamech now becoming an advocate whereby they even go door to door and be able to identify their fellow young men who are doing those sexual violations and either report them or deter them from doing such kind of violations within the community. So that is a very huge thing that we've seen and something that needs to be expanded because the sugarcane belt is big. So we need to work with them and support them to be able to reach other sugarcane cutters, to be able to change this kind of behavior.
With the border riders, now, they carry these girls to school. And when they carry these girls to school, what messages do they give these girls? And we found that they lure them, that they don't give them money. I'll be carrying you, but you'll not be giving me money, so that when it reaches a weekend, we see on how to pay it. So with these little girls, they know that money is best. But now they were telling us that they don't give money. They give incentives. So we were telling them, what about if you go and tell the parents of this girl that I would like to be taking your girl to school, but she needs this and this and this when I'm taking her to school. That bondage with you and her, you will find out that now the parents will be doing what you were doing.
Tunaongea na wazazi, tunaongea na wasichana, tunawafundisha ile hata mtu kama apata mimba kigafla kama alikuwa amejipanga, lakini bado wako na ile tamaa ya kwenda kusoma na kuendelea na maisha yake. Kuna ile kitu ambayo inaitwa safe abortion ambayo inaweza enda kwa hospitalini alafu atolewe.
Through community dialogues and legal awareness, many transformed. They confronted harmful masculinity. They challenged exploitation. They began protecting girls.
I was married when I was 14 years. And 10 years, bado mtoto. Nikakaa 14, 15, 16. Kifika tu hapo 18 years, nikaanza kuona, sifai kuolekwa saa hii. Nafaa kuponda raha kama wasichana wenzangu. Imekuwa changamoto sana, ilileta shida kidogo kidogo. Sasa pigana kwa nyumba, hakuna maelewano juu. Naona tu bwanangu ananinyima haki yangu. Yeye pia ananiambia, wewe ni mke wangu. Ushaoleka hufai kufanya hayo.
Ulikuwa unaona hao wazazi wetu wenye tuko nao hapa walikuwa wanaona ni aibu kwake mtoto pengine kupata mimba alafu abebe hii mimba. Ndio ulikuwa unaona sasa wengi wao walikuwa nazoa ile mimba nje, lakini walikuwa najificha wakienda kufanya nini? Kuizoa kabla ijulikane wanaenda kuizoa ili isije ikaonekana ati walienda wakafanya nini? Wakazoa ile mimba. Na hiyo kitu ilikuwa imechangia pia pakubwa sana kwa vifo vya watoto wetu. Manake walikuwa nazoa lakini wanazoa kwa njia haistahili.
The Luo Council of Elders, the moral voice of the community, has also stepped forward.
An initiative by the Reproductive Health Initiative, where they work with the Luo Council of Elders, the Nyadaralek. You know, in this region, the elders has a lot of say when it comes to cultural issues. And also they are the voice of the community. These elder people took an initiative where they went to the sub-county Ministry of Education, talked to them in terms of what are the situation of teenage pregnancy within their locality. Because it's too much in Homa Bay. It's one of the highest counties when it comes to teenage pregnancy, HIV, AIDS, and gender-based violence.
The word abortion in our society was satanic because nobody accepted someone to abort. We were inclining to killing, so you are a murderer. But because of the prevailing circumstances today, in the first time when we start discussing this with them, we get some cold reception. And even they wonder, what are these old men trying to tell us? They are the people who are supposed to give us the right direction, and now they are telling us about abortion. What do they mean? But as the discussion go on, they get in terms because we tell them what we mean by that.
Elders who once upheld traditions now acknowledge that some practices have become harmful. Today, they speak openly, urging families to protect the health, dignity, and rights of women and girls above all else. At the center of this shift is Dina, a reproductive health nurse working closely with elders, faith leaders, former perpetrators, and young people. She has seen what happens when the community moves together.
You know, Council of Elders act as a influencer. They have influence to the community. So when they are trained as champions on sexual and reproductive health issues, including abortion care, they are able to lead a discussion and people listen to them. So when people listen to them, they can easily pass the information, especially on behavior change and also issue of sexual and reproductive health rights. So they act as people who are protecting life.
IPAS waendelee kufundisha wazee, kufundisha vijana, kufundisha wamama vile watu wanaweza kaa kisasa. Tuwache ile ya zamani, dunia imebadilika.
Even in the mosque, silence is breaking.
I can't fail to mention that one also of our CBO Katag is really working with the minority group within Homa Bay, where we have the Somalis and the Muslims.
An imam now speaks openly about sexuality, violence, and health, topics once considered untouchable.
Mimba za mapema kwa watoto wa kike inaharibu akili yake kitu ya kwanza. Maana akishalipata hivi, basi unakuta akili yake haina msimamo. Na mzazi atajua pia, mzazi unakuta wakati mwingine wazazi wanakuta anamkasirikia mtoto wake, sababu ameharibu yale malengo yake, ameharibu malengo ya mzazi na ameharibu pia mtoto, ameharibu malengo yake. Iwe ni kwetu Waislamu ama iwe sio kwa Waislamu, lazima mzazi awe ni mwenye kuongea kwa uzuri, kwa utaratibu, kwa upole, ili huyu mtoto asije akajiona kwamba ametengwa na wazazi.
And slowly, parents are beginning to listen and speak about what they once feared to name.
Before you could find even a school with 20 girls, but now maybe you can find 1 or 2. They have really reduced because most of these girls, now we've talked to the parents.
Globally, 45% of abortions are unsafe, mostly in low and middle-income countries. Supported by IPAS Africa Alliance, working across Kenya, Tanzania, and Rwanda to reduce maternal deaths and advance community-led change.
So if we are able to expand reach by resourcing a number of grassroots to certain areas where they are known, they know the intrigues of that community. What are the community-driven solutions that work in a particular community? Then that's where the change will happen.
Bumilusi CBO knows this work cannot depend on funding alone. They are part of this community and they plan to stay. Through small income-generating activities, they support their work, their members, and the women they rescue. Because change must continue, with or without support.
We have IGS such as hiring of chairs. We have chairs for hire and tents. We have poultry. We have the photocopier. And also we do table banking and merry-go-round. We also sometimes get funds from donors, and that is done in timeline. After the donor phases out, we just now continue with our activities in the office.
Now, these flames illuminate, they warn, they protect. And in that light, women and girls are no longer alone.
Yeah.